I was definitely lied to then. All this time I thought he was coming home in 2018, and all this time I thought he was in there for a robbery.
Welcome to another episode of More Than an Inmate's Girlfriend. I'm your host, Jay, and today we are going back to our series on betrayal. So we took a little break last week so that we could slip in a really powerful episode that we recorded with Christopher Life Willers. If you haven't listened to it, I highly suggest you go back to last week's episode. Listen to it. It's amazing. We've had so many people come and message us like, oh my gosh, this has opened so much perspective for me. And that's exactly how I felt doing the interview. So I thought it was really cool that a lot of people resonated the same way I did with his interview. So please go back and listen to it if you haven't. But this week's episode is equally exciting. We are diving in with Official on her circumstances around her relationship and the crumbling of it after many, many, many years. This woman was with her man for over, I think, a decade, and then it just fell apart. So really excited for you guys to listen to this one. It is heartbreaking. We will talk about her relationship. It is a long story. There are a lot of different pieces, from lies at the beginning to lies in the end, in the middle, and we have separated it into 2 episodes just because it was really long and it is a very long story. She is on TikTok also. We will give you her handle. I will put it in the show notes. She has pictures of him on social media, on TikTok, so you can put a face to a name on everything that happened to her. Before we get into it, just a few shout outs and updates for you. The first one is we want to give a really special shout out to a pen pal service that AJ used to find D. And we want to shout them out because they do so much work in connecting so many people. And they did such a great job at putting D out there so that AJ could find him. So I want to give a shout out to Jammin Match LLC. So that's Jammin, Jammin, Match, MATCH. They're on social media. They have a website, and they essentially spread pen pal posts all over the Facebook and on their website, and they're just really integrative, and they post in a lot of places, a lot of different places, which increases the likelihood of pen pals being found and matches being made. So really just wanted to give a nice shout out to them. They're a small business. I love to support small businesses, so check her out, check out her website, check out her Facebook profile. She's got tons of people that she is representing right now, and she has been a great supporter of us. So I really wanted to shout that out. AJ is forever grateful that she introduced her to D. So yay, thank you, Jam and Match. Not much going on right now in the last week with Nick and I. We are preparing to file a lawsuit, so that's exciting. I will get into it. And I'm working on a special project that I'm also very excited about, and more to come on that. We are taking guests for September. The season will be ending, just so you know, at the end of June. And then all the ones that we're recording will be for September. So yay. As always, AJ and I really need your support as we continue to grow. We would really love it if you could just hit the follow button. It really makes a difference. Hit that follow, comment on Spotify, share the episodes with your friends and family. Continue to do that. Continue to support, because we want to keep this going for as long as possible. And we're having a really great time doing that and expanding our reach, and it's working. And we want to continue building this community. We've gotten a lot of love, and we want more and more people to be able to hear different people's stories. And that's really what we're doing here, is that as much as I love sharing Nick and I's story and where we're at and the journey of our love and AJ and D, it's really about your stories. I want to hear everybody else's stories. It just makes us feel a lot more connected. So let's keep that going. Please hit follow, post a comment, check out our TikTok at More Than an Inmate's GF. Check out our Instagram at podcast_prisongf. We're also on Facebook. And with that, we will go into part 1 of Official. Enjoy. Welcome, official. Thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Although it is going to be a sad story, I am looking forward to hearing it. Do you want to start from the beginning and tell me how you met your significant other?
Yes. So I met him on Facebook. My mutual friend from junior high school had posted a picture of him. And, what some girls, they love buck men, and he happened to be one of those men, and it caught my attention to where I made a comment underneath that picture, not knowing he had a cell phone to comment back.
Oh.
And it led to him private messaging me on Messenger.
So did you know him before that?
I did not know him. He was already incarcerated. It was a junior high school friend, so he knew him for a while before incarceration.
And was he looking for a pen pal?
I have no idea at that time. I did not leave a comment for him to respond back. Okay. I left the comment just to say he was cute. I didn't expect it, so I didn't know what he was looking for, actually.
So what was that like, the first few messages?
It was smooth. I had also just got out of a 4-year relationship, so I was not looking for anything big at the time. It was just conversation for myself, because at that time he was actually in a relationship too.
Oh. Did you know his significant other?
I did not know her. He did tell me about her, and I just said, I'm not here to break no one up or anything like that, because that's just not the way I roll. But obviously he was at his end point when it came to her, because when I came into the picture as far as meeting him, he was going through things with her actually at that time as well.
Oh, so did she know, was she aware that you and him were friends?
No, I do not think so. I know that after discovering that obviously he had a Facebook, I know of course they were friends on there, but I 100% believe that she did not know anything about me or if he was even talking to anyone else.
And then how long after did they break up?
About 2 weeks.
Oh.
2 weeks after, and it was because he found out that she became pregnant.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, she became pregnant while he was incarcerated. He was with her for 5 years, and he confided in me, and I was confiding in him because, like I said, I was in a 4-year relationship as well, and that was at the end point as well. So we were confiding in each other, and that's how it all started.
It sounds like it was like a vulnerable time for both of you, and you connected on that level, so you probably had quite a deep friendship going.
It definitely was. And as I confided in him, I do, let me make this clear, I do love to confide in men sometimes, because there's some men that do give great advice about other men, and there's some men that will be honest with you when it comes to it. And so I really did not mind getting advice from him of what I was going through, and it did grow a bond. It did grow a tight friendship, confiding in each other. Like I said, that's basically how that started our foundation, to be honest.
Yeah. And at what point did you feel like your relationship was progressing past a friendship?
Not till 3 years later. We actually became best friends for 3 years. We were really tight friends. He knew that I was meeting people and hanging out with them, and he would call me while I was with them, and yes, hanging out with males, but he knew that I was with them. He knew I would go out, and of course, he's in prison, so of course you hear prison stories of talking to all kind of other women and stuff. So of course, yes, I asked those questions, and yes, he did end up telling me he had pen pals.
Okay.
And I couldn't be upset because he was no one near to me like that besides just a friend and someone that I tried to be there for as far as him being in those walls. But yeah, we were great friends. It's 3 years. We were really great friends. We really we told each other maybe about after the first, second year, you're my best friend, dude. Like, he became my best friend, literally out of the first 3 years. He did.
And what happened to make it more than that? Did you bring it up? Did he? Was it naturally?
No. So the last year, 2014, my great-grandmother, who my mom and my family and I, we had the honor of taking care of to her last dying day. He knew I was going through that, my grandmother living with us and everything, and I was very just vulnerable and stuff like that. And he would write me letters, and the bottom of the letters would say stuff like, I miss you. And he would tell me, I would tell him like, oh, you miss me? No, that's just how the paper came. And I'm like, okay. And in December of 2014, when my grandma came home to be on hospice, was the first time he said, "I love you." And I was shocked. I was stuck. I'm like, what type of love? Like a brother or sister? And from that moment, it was actually more than a friend. And that's where it really started. And I guess that's where he really expressed his feelings. And I'm not going to lie, before that, there have been a few times where I had slipped up and gave him kind of hints that I was liking him more than a friend as well. Like I said, this was my friend. This was my best friend that I confided into with a lot of things that I was dealing with in life. And not even a week or two later, here comes 2015, and here goes January 1st, to where he asked me at midnight, look at the clock, and just hear me asking you to be my lady.
Aww. It sounds like so common. It's like the trend. Even with my husband, we were friends first, and I never saw it coming until it just hits you like a wall when you're like, uh-oh, I'm in love with this person and we're about to do this. Was it your first ever prison relationship? Did you ever have any experience before this?
Definitely not.
Same.
For sure, my first one. For sure, my first one.
And did you have any hesitations to growing from a friendship to more?
Yes and no. I didn't want to ruin our friendship that we had because it was amazing. But at the same time, my feelings for him are starting to grow stronger. I felt myself confining to him with the deepest things I was going through. I trusted him, and he allowed me to. He opened that door for me too, and I didn't see it coming, but it came. And honestly, I fell deeply in love, and I felt like I was one of the luckiest women alive to even be with this man.
Oh my gosh. And then those first few years, what was it like once you guys were official?
It was amazing. I'm a jokester. I love to joke and clown and tease, and he was the same way. We would tease each other and pick on each other and have a great time laughing and building up those memories. Yes, it was over phone and whatnot, but it still counted to me, and it was great. I couldn't complain. It was like people looked at him as the man in blue, as a state number, and I looked at him as a man wearing blue jeans and a blue T-shirt, and as just a human being.
Yeah. Before the first time that you uncovered a secret, was there any red flags leading up to that in any way that your relationship wasn't as it seemed?
I know no one's perfect,
yeah.
And I know life is not as well, but as perfect as he made himself seem, I really did not see no red flags at all. But unfortunately, there was two big, huge red flags. I uncovered a secret, and it wasn't directly from him. It was directly from his brother-in-law. And so I think that's what made it harder for me, was because I'm hearing it from a third party instead of the man who I was saying I love you to.
Yeah. So how far into your relationship did you find this out? And then tell me about what happened.
I found this out maybe a year and some change into this relationship. His brother-in-law and I, we grew a relationship as far as, I got you, if you need anything, okay, here's the updates of what's going on with him type thing. So he was my go-to person throughout the whole family, throughout his whole time in there. And one night we happened to talk on the phone, and he ended up telling me that he was in there for rape in concert. He ended up telling me that he was in there way longer than what I was told, and he said, yeah, he has about 10 more years or so. And I said, huh? What? Wait, what? He said, yeah, and I said, I was definitely lied to then. All this time, I thought he was coming home in 2018, and all this time I thought he was in there for robbery, because he told me he was an outside person looking to see if anyone was coming as far as cops and stuff, and no, it was a whole different scenario.
Oh my gosh, you never thought up until then to look up his charge?
Never. Like I said in the beginning, it was my first prison relationship. I wasn't like too much into the phone how I am right now, and because I knew really nothing about criminal cases and that you can actually do that, because I'm thinking it's a court type of thing and only court has that type of information, I never knew. But I took the initiative to just go find about this man.
Yeah. And what'd you find?
And girl, I didn't know where to start as far as looking things up on Google. I had no idea where to start, how to start, but I didn't know if I put the first, last name, middle name. I didn't know if I put the year. I didn't know, because I didn't know what year this all had taken place as well. So I put in, I believe I want to say I put in Valentine's, and I put in the state and city, and I put his name, and here goes the whole case in front of me. And let me tell you, when I saw that case, girl, did my face and eyes drop.
Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
What did you do? Did you confront him?
Definitely. I waited for that 8 o'clock phone call, answered it. I don't even think I let it ring. I hit that 5 as soon as I was able to hit that 5. And I promise you, once it connected, I didn't even say babe or anything. I didn't even say hi. Hello? Do you have something to explain to me? He's, what? What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about, because prior to the phone calls earlier, we were fine. And I said, I think you have some explaining to do. Something got brought to my attention tonight, and I really need to know what's going on. And I was full of emotions. I believe I even had shed some tears with him.
Yeah, which is normal. I don't know what I would do if I thought someone had robbed someone and then only to find out that it was a sexual assault in nature. That's crazy.
Yes, definitely is crazy.
And what did he say?
It took my mind away, not to be so personal, but I myself am a victim of it. And that's what made it like, no way.
Yeah.
No way. I can't. Of course, he was quiet. And I'm like, this is not the time to be quiet here, sir. I need you to talk. I need to hear it from your mouth and not from the third party. And he said, yes, it's true. I did not do anything to the victim. I can show you that I did not. And I'm like, show me how. You're in there. Mm-hmm. And he said, I will make sure that I call my godfather to see the binder.
Yeah.
I said, first off, I thought you were coming home in 3 more years. So you think I'm going to wait another 10 or 12? No. I said, I don't even know if I could be able to be this long in this relationship. I was already in my mid-20s. This is something now that I need to think about. And his next answer was, I was really scared to tell you. I had wanted to. I was scared to tell you because I knew you were also a victim. I did not know how to tell you because I was scared you were going to leave.
Yeah.
And I said, I'd rather you tell me the truth and scare me a little than me find out through someone other than yourself. So I did tell him I lost trust in him. I did tell him I need time. I need to think this over. I do need to see your binder. And maybe that will help me a little bit. I do need to talk to the people who were involved, who were there. I really do need to get to the bottom of this because I come from a family with a lot of kids and I just didn't feel good at that time for that.
Yeah. All I can feel is like crushing. I can't imagine, because you would have had no idea up until this point, and then you're so in love with this person, it's been years that you've known him, and then all of a sudden this huge secret. All I can think of is just a crushing pain. And kudos to you, because you still were like, hey, I'm gonna give you that benefit of the doubt, even though this is huge to me. I'm a victim myself. I shouldn't even be giving you the time of day, but I'm still gonna do that for you.
Yes. I think I only did that because not only have I grown onto this man, not only have this man known my secrets and everything about me. I'm not saying, and I want to make this very clear, I'm not saying it's okay to be with someone who has been charged or does that type of stuff. Not. But when you have more than just himself telling you that he did not do anything, you need to see it also for yourself. You need to look into it also for yourself. And hearing him and hearing his family say over and over to me, like, he did not do it, I said, okay, I'm going to take your word, but I need to get professional help. I need to do this professionally. And I did.
You did. And how was your relationship during that time when you were looking through? You got that binder, correct?
I got that binder quick. I want to tell you that I think when we hung up the phone, I swear that next morning he must have called his godfather, because I swear within less than 72 hours, honey, I had that binder in my hand.
Spiraling down the binder. What did you find?
I got home that day. I shut the door. I laid in my bed and I went through every single page as slow as I can. And keep in mind, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm looking for. I have no idea about criminal at all. And I had to learn, and I did learn, and I found the victim. There was a lot of contradicting out of her mouth. She couldn't even line him up in the lineup. She couldn't remember what they had called him as far as his nickname in the streets. It was a lot of ums and a lot of buts and a lot of and ors and a lot of all that stuff. So it was like, girl, is you really making this up or what's going on? And when it got to the part where it showed the diaphragm as far as her being tested in her private area, believe it or not, there was no semen, there was no proof, there was no marks, there was nothing of him whatsoever. I needed to get someone professional to look at this.
Just for information, he had co-defendants, right?
Yes, he had 2. So there was a total of 3 of them.
And were their DNA on her?
Girl, yes.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
my, I'm talking about semen, I'm talking about ripping her up in there, I'm talking about all the above. Yes.
Okay.
Them two was very clear in there.
So, yeah, that would make me question as well. You got that professional advice and you spoke to people, and in the end, what did you come to the conclusion of?
After having so many meetings with lawyers, taking that great big binder, it came to find out that he was actually innocent. The lawyer looked at me dead into my face and he said, your fiance, sadly say, is innocent. He's
Wow.
innocent. And I said, well, why is he in there? I got stuck. And he said he's in there because whoever took over his case, which he had about 2 lawyers that took over, they did a speedy trial. They sped it up and they didn't fight nor look into more details.
It was your first experience of wrongful convictions and over sentencing and the realities of the
Yes.
criminal justice system?
Yes,
Crazy.
my first everything. As a child, I had relatives locked up. I had uncles locked up for drugs and stuff like that. But I was a child. I had no idea anything about this until I got with this man, and I learned a lot.
Yeah. So the emotional wheel over this time period must have been insane because you're learning all these things. He's lied to you. Then you're reading it and you're like, wait a minute, he's actually innocent. What was that process for you emotionally?
I'm going to be honest. It did hurt me to know he was innocent and he had gotten 19 years. That's what the judge gave him. And it was like, how could they not see that there's nothing? How could they just bypass that?
Yeah.
When he told me that he wasn't remorseful, saying, how can I be remorseful for something I had never done? It made me want to fight. I love this man. I cared about this man. I already gave him some of my time and years, and it made me want to fight a fight that I could never do. I did not know where to start, but I started a fight. We started a fight together. I heard his doubts. I heard his tears. I heard his sorrow, his sadness, and I was the one to lift him up as being his partner. And I said, well, we're going to fight this. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but we sure going to learn something together.
It sounds like it made your relationship stronger.
When it came to trying to help him prove his innocence, I felt just I needed to do this. Not for myself. It was more for him and his family. More importantly, his mom as well, because I know his mom was his world, and he was missing out on a lot for what?
Yeah. So you didn't all the way forgive him for lying to you, but you were willing to work on it with him.
Yes. At that time, it took time to trust him again. It did. But like I said, I had to put that away. It's like having pride, and sometimes you got to put that pride down and just say, I got to do it. And it was just that in that moment for me. And I love this guy, and this is someone that I seen life going to waste after I was told he was innocent. And I just didn't think it was fair.
Yeah.
I just had to do my part as being his partner.
And I think it's important to touch on the amount of work that you did and what actually came of it.
It was a lot of hard work. It was a lot of sweat. It was a lot of tears, a lot of emotions, a lot of I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it. As you guys know, I went to the lawyer to see about this case. This lawyer connected me with the private investigator, his family. I'm very thankful. They hired a private investigator not once, but twice. One here in the Bay Area and also one in San Diego. We had his case get looked at again by a lawyer. I dealt with lawyers. I dealt with prison counselors. Every time he got cheated and robbed from credits and points, I was calling the prison. I stopped the transfer once upon a time. He was getting transferred and I stopped it. Don't ask how. But by the grace of God, I stopped it by contacting the city of Sacramento, the headquarters of CDCR. I've done a lot.
Yeah.
I've done some things that prison wives to this day probably don't even know where to start or what they're doing. But I did do a lot for this man. A lot for this man. I was the one who the lawyers and investigators and counselors and everyone were reaching out to, and his family was the one doing it financially. To me, that was the easy work. I had the hard work.
Yeah. It sounds like you really invested a lot of time into him over those years.
Did I? Did I?
Unfortunately, we didn't manage to get the case overturned, but you still learned a lot.
Unfortunately, we ended up getting the same judge who sentenced him when he was 18. And the judge very much did remember the case. The lawyer that we had, that law firm had represented his brother, which was a co-defendant of his. And the lawyer we had, they remembered the case from all those many years. And it was all about new evidence. And and I don't know what type of new evidence they had wanted, but I did get new evidence, which was from a co-defendant who was a family friend. I got his letter. He wrote a letter stating the whole entire story. In the story himself, he even said that my ex-fiance had nothing to do with what had happened. I paid for it to get notarized, and to me, that was new evidence because that co-defendant of the family friend had never spoken in trial at all whatsoever. So they didn't take that as new evidence. They wanted new evidence, which would have been from the victim.
Oh, that's BS, but whatever. I heard you say ex-fiance. At what point did that happen?
Yes, girl, we put rings on it.
Oof. When was that?
We did. We had a matching ring set I had purchased for both of us, of course. But anyways, yes, I had felt so in love with this man. He told me the word, and he told me things that I had always wanted to hear from, of course, previous exes and stuff like that. And I felt, did it and said it. And about a year and some change later, after being with him in 2016 sometime, I had asked him to marry me. He took it as a joke. He thought I was playing. He's like, what? A woman asking? Yes, I'm asking you. I'm not playing. Yes, I love you. I'm in love with you, and you are who I want to be with for the rest of my life. Wow. And he still had never believed me. And in 2018 is when he finally asked me to marry him. And it was face to face. When I asked, it was over the phone.
And how'd you feel when he proposed?
Girl, I had butterflies like crazy. My palms were sweating. His palms were sweating because I obviously was holding his hand too. And I just couldn't stop smiling. I felt like I was the luckiest girl. I love cotton candy, but let me tell you, it was beyond me loving cotton candy. It's beyond. And I felt great. I felt good. I said, damn, it's about time. And finally, he's taking me serious.
Aww.
And right when he asked me, I asked him right back, and we both said yes to each other. And yeah, it went from there.
In that moment, did you have any doubt, or were you fully certain that this was the man you were going to spend the rest of your life with?
No, I had no doubt at all. No doubt at all.
And although he didn't come out in 2018, he did have an out date that was coming up, correct? When was that supposed to be?
His out date was supposed to be in 2020, and they ended up moving it for whatever their reasonings were, and he ended up getting out in August of 2021.
And leading up to him coming out, what was that like? I hear a lot of people talk about people who do long bids, how leading up to that date can be a little bit more stressful and things can change a little bit. What was it like for you guys?
It's hard. All those years that I held it down. By the way, I held it down for 10 years and we were together 7 out of that, and we were engaged since I had asked him in 16 to 18, so about 3 years.
Yeah.
So it was hard the last year, only because I felt he knew he was coming home.
Okay.
You know, when he went in there, he was a big guy. When he came out, he's 6-pack and buff now. Mm-hmm. So I knew he felt, I'm going to get attention. I knew he felt, I'm sure things were going through his head.
Yeah, he was feeling himself.
Yes. And it was becoming really rough that last 2 years. And it got to a point where I was just like, dude, we came so far. And I'm not going to say I was innocent. Okay. I'm not going to say he was innocent. We were having problems, obviously, because time's getting closer. So I felt like he was starting to switch on me. And I felt a little pushed away. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to lie, I started hanging out with a coworker. Nothing crazy at the time, but it was like, I don't know what else to do. Yeah. I've given you everything. I've done everything in my power I felt I could do. And yes, I'm hanging out with a coworker. And at the time, if you want me to be honest with you, the coworker was making me smile. I wasn't stressing. I wasn't nothing. But don't get me wrong. I still communicated with him. I still answered his calls. I still talked to him, even sitting with the coworker. So I started messing around with the coworker, and I was open about it. I did not hide it from him. I never hid anything from him. All these years, I have been 100% faithful to him. And we did take a little break from each other where he did stop calling me. And I said, I can't sit here and I'm already waiting all these years. And what more can I wait?
Yeah.
So it's okay, fine. I can't call you. You have to call me. There's no way I can get a hold of you besides writing. When he took that break from me and whatnot, I was doing me. I was working and I was hanging out with a coworker more. And he knew, like I said, but I missed him. I was in love with him. He was my heart, and I missed him. And I reached out and I'm like, dude, we need to talk. Contact me, or I will contact another prison wife. Can you please have him call me? And stuff like that. And he did, and we did miss each other. We worked through it. When I was hanging out with the coworker, we worked through it. And all of a sudden, he switches up on me now, and he's telling me like, oh, are you having this coworker write? What? No, I have no one writing you. Why would I give your address out? Come to find out, a female was writing him that I actually knew as well.
Oh, but you didn't find out at the time.
No, he did not. See, I was so blunt, direct to him, and not him. He was more like, play the guessing game. They're from this city. You've talked to them before, and that's it. I'm like, what's the name, homeboy? What's the name? But it was so obvious that I put it together, and when I put it together, he still denied it. And I'm like, why are you denying? And I'm here being so blunt and real with you about everything.
So it was starting to crumble right before he got out.
Oh, it was starting to crumble. I'm going to be honest with you. He ended up doing 15 and a half years, by the way, not a full 19. And I could count how many times that I've sent him money, and I could count how many times on one hand I sent him packages. And when he told me that he had gotten $500 from someone he had no idea, that was bullshit. Because on the receipts, it shows who sends you stuff.
Yeah.
I played dumb with him, but I was not dumb. He ended up reading me her letters.
Oh.
But keep in mind, he wasn't reading me what he was also responding. So some of these letters did sound like it was a response letter. Oh, you're still with her? Oh, damn. I didn't know that. Oh, damn, you're engaged? Oh, damn. It was that type of letter. So I know you for sure wrote her back, but you were playing as you didn't. Just keep it real with me. I had always kept it real with you, and that was one thing we always told each other, was to be blunt with each other, be open, whether we want to hear or not, whether it's going to hurt us or not. I'd rather know than find out later. Yeah. And yeah, so like I said, I ended up knowing the girl. I did.
How did you know her?
In 2016, when he was incarcerated at one of the first prisons I ever met him at, second prison I met him at, because he had gotten transferred when I first met him. And I sat at a visiting table with her while she was visiting her man. He was my ex's dorm roommate. And she confided in me about their relationship and her personal stuff, and I did the same thing back, and she would tell me how to pose and send pictures. And like we confided, we talked every single day, we talked every night. When they were on lockup, we were talking to each other, and she learned a lot about him, and I learned a lot about hers and her man, and we would do visits together. And there was no way in hell at the time that I would see her ever reaching out to my ex, because I didn't see her looking at him at any visits any type of way. But some way, somehow she found him, and I said, what the hell did she find you after all these years later? And he's not hard. I do have a CDCR number. And I'm like, how would she know your CDCR number? I never got that answer, by the way.
I think you can Google it. I think you can go on.
Yeah, she started writing him the last year to a few months before him coming home.
So the day he came home, were you guys together or no?
Yeah, the day he came home, no, I did not go to pick him up. I was supposed to, but with all that going on, it was unfinished business. And he decided, I'm going to have my family pick me up. So his cousins and his brother-in-law and his nephew went and picked him up. And he came to my house. I was the first stop that he made when he came. And I, of course, got ready, got dolled up.
Yeah.
I had butterfly palms.
Yeah. So you were engaged at that point. How did you feel not going to pick him up?
It sucked. I think that's every girl's dream is, I held it down for you and we made all these plans and I want to be the one at the gate. But instead I've seen a video of him coming out the gate.
Wow.
You know, it did suck. But at the same time, I was thankful and finally just happy that that became the past behind us and now we were able to move forward.
Exactly. The chapter was still ending regardless and it was going to be a better chapter.
Correct.
Did you have fears coming up to him being released because you guys were so rocky?
No, I didn't have no fears. I just didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know how things were going to be. I was just happy that he was home. Even though I did not pick him up at the gate, I still got to be with him. And that also had me thinking as well, because ladies, make sure if you pick him up at the gate, he's riding with you in the same car as well. For me, it wasn't that way either. This is when I really started seeing red flags. I'm talking about triple, quadruple red flags.
They just started coming in waves at that point.
Let me tell you, I have seen more red flags of him being home the very first day, the very first few hours, than I ever seen, I think, in prison.
And it kills me hearing this. Like we talked about before we started, my relationship is so good. And as much as people say you just don't know when they come home what it's going to be like. and what the reality is. But he even met your parents that day, correct?
Yes.
And what was that conversation like?
Oh, Lord. They finally met. They did talk to each other a few times on the phone while he was incarcerated. He used to boast himself up. Oh, I'm the favorite son-in-law and this and that. And my dad used to always say, we'll see. My family always had told me to be careful and just never know. And so when I brought him upstairs to my parents' room to introduce him to my father, and for him to look into my father's eyes and to say, I'm in love with your daughter, I'm going to be with her, I'm going to marry her, and she's an amazing woman, it made me feel great inside. I was smiling, hugging, looking at him with my arm around him, and to hear my dad say, that's my baby. She's been through a lot. She is a good woman. You do have a great woman. She loves hard, and she has been hurt multiple times, and you better not hurt my daughter. And to hear him say, no, I will not. You don't have to worry about that. I'm going to forever take care of her. It was like, okay. And my mom, she's more of the quiet one. She'll let my dad do that type of talking. But of course, she also doesn't want her daughter to be hurt.
Yeah.
From that moment, I thought, okay, cool. But the moment we left the house, it was not like that.
So what happened?
Like I said, ladies, make sure you drive in the same car. He made me follow him in his car that he was in. I drove by myself while I followed him. Yes, I had many thoughts in my head. Yes, I was like, well, damn, they picked you up, but why can't you ride with me? Okay, cool. Our first stop was at his aunt's house. And I got out the car, and assuming I was going to get introduced. I did know that some of the cousins that lived there, but I didn't know the aunt and the uncle. But no, I never got introduced. We hopped back in the car. I hopped back in by myself, and we drove to where the party was at and came out of the car by myself as I watched him get out and hug his sister and his mom. Yeah, that's how my first rodeo went with him.
What do you even do in that situation? Because I would be so shocked that this is happening. And it's already surreal that after 15 years he's out and 10 years of you holding him down. And then all this is happening at once. It must have been so overwhelming in your head. I don't even know.
It was, but I also didn't want to show too much of my irritation. I didn't want to show too much of my being bothered because it was his moment at the end.
Yeah.
His family had waited all these years. He went in at 18, came home at 34. His family waited, and I didn't want to take that shine from him. I didn't want to take that moment because I felt even though it wasn't how I had expected, it was still his time. It was his moment. I wanted to respect that as much as I can. I just remember sitting there by myself as he had gotten home and went and showered and stuff because he didn't shower coming out of the prison. So he showered when we got to the family function. But I just remember sitting there by myself. I remember a couple people coming up and thanking me for holding it down and never giving up on him and everything I had done as far as the court and stuff like that within the prison stuff as well. And me just telling them I just did what I needed to do, and it was because I loved them.
Yeah.
And I just remember that, and I just remember he was really nervous. Not seeing a lot of these people ever, meeting new people, his nephews, nieces, everyone. And I just remember him being nervous and just sitting next to me as he got out when he came out of the shower. Like he was sitting with me at the table and stuff, but then started to warm up. And it just went, I guess, from there.
And then what was the plans after that? Were you guys going to live together?
We got a hotel room.
Okay.
We were planning on getting a place together. Eventually, yes, we were. We had everything planned. But that night, we went to a hotel, and I lived 45 minutes away from him, but I ended up taking the week off to just be with him in his presence and help him out and take him here and do that. And let me tell you, it's some work when they come home, too. It doesn't end. I will tell you that.
Yeah.
And we went to the hotel room, and we got in the room, and he seen a real bed. He was tripping out, and I'm tripping out because he's tripping out. And I'm like, dude, it's just a bed. But then I get it. He slept on metal for so long, and due to them. And that's where the magic's supposed to happen, I guess. I heard, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got to the room and we took a shower together.
Okay.
And we got out the shower and we laid in the bed, and he was looking at his phone and like tripping out how the phones are touched now and everything is touched. So he's tripping out, and I'm like, bro, what are you, like, it's just a phone. But again, to me, it's old.
Yeah.
And then I became a phone teacher for a little bit, and yeah, just from there it went bad again.
It's like a roller coaster.
It was, because when the men are in prison, a lot of them are like, oh, when I come home, I'm about to lay the pipe. And he was one of those, and he was a big talker. When it came to that moment, I'm the one who had to persuade, I guess you could say. Damn, 15 and a half years, I thought that you would be the one, like
Yeah.
a monkey all on me, but no, it was the other way around. It was more of him telling me he's tired, he didn't want none, and that he wanted to go to sleep, and I was like, nah, hell no. I waited
It's
10
so
years for
long.
this very moment. I heard you talk a good one all these years, and I want to see what you're talking about. And when I initiated, it still wasn't what I expected at all. It was more like, boom, boom, I'm done. I'm going to bed. Good night.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was. That's when I knew it was a lot of red flags coming my way.
Oh, really? Because I've heard mixed things about this. Because you're right. Like, we all anticipate it. We're all waiting for it. We all talk about it. Like, it's going to be a big deal. And I've heard so many times women say that it doesn't go as you think it's going to go. And we have to remember, I don't know how old he was when he was incarcerated, but Nick was 20.
He was 18.
Yeah. So 18-year-olds, like, the experience level is a
Hey,
little bit different.
he was 18, but he always told me that when he was in the streets, he was a ladies' man, even though he was this big, chunky boy. And he was always this ladies' man, and he always had it going on. And all these years I dealt with him in prison, he always said, I can't wait to lay the pipe. And I said, shit, I'm plugged, so let's go.
But
That
no.
pipe wasn't laid like I thought it would be.
And would you say it was downhill from there?
Oh, man. It just keeps going. The next day, it's time to go see the parole officer. And he wanted to dress as twins, so we did. He dressed as twins. I said, okay, cool. I never done that with anyone. We did. And he wanted Starbucks. We go and try some Starbucks, and we're having a cool time chilling inside, waiting for the coffee until we walk out. This is day number 2. And the moment we walk out, something just was so weird and suspicious, and it happens to be that my back passenger left side window is busted. And I'm like, babe, like in a scared type of way. And he's, what happened, babe? And I'm like, my window's busted. He's like, what? And it was his first night home, so I had all his belongings in my car. I'm talking about all this expensive clothing and shoes, and nothing of his was taken besides my purse and my wallet, my ID, and everything else. And I panicked a little. I am in East Oakland at the time, and East Oakland, for those that are from the Bay Area that's going to hear this, y'all know what's up with East Oakland already. And I'm crying. When I get mad, upset, and whatnot, I cry. And I cried, and he didn't know what the heck to do because it was his first time really seeing me in person crying like that. He felt bad. And he instantly called his brother-in-law, and his brother-in-law was like, don't trip, I got you guys. And I was more panicking as well too, because he can't be late to see parole, and we were damn near almost late. And I'm like, oh Lord, we have to go back to prison. But we paid it, and thank God that he was understanding, and he came out and looked at the car and stuff as well. And from there we went to get my window fixed, and then the red flags just continue after that.
What happened?
We get the window fixed, and his brother-in-law drives, follows me, and of course I'm driving by myself to get it fixed while he's in the car with his brother-in-law. And it's just, I don't know, he just couldn't be with me. It was just so crazy. But we're getting it fixed. We go to pick it up hours later. Mind you, we go back to the sister's house, and he leaves me in the living room. I'm uncomfortable because I don't know them as much. I only knew the brother-in-law really well and the mom. And I didn't know his sister that much. I just knew that she's the only girl. And man, I swear, like, older sisters just stare at you like they want to beat you up themselves. And I'm texting his phone, come in here, and he's outside, and he left me for hours inside the house.
What?
And so that was something I was also bothered by. Now, when it was time to go get my car, he paid for it. I will say that. He paid for it with the money that people gave him when he got home. And he didn't come home with me. He went back with his brother-in-law in the car. So on purpose, I wanted to see how much he cared about me.
Yeah.
I wanted to see if he was going to reach out to me and ask me if I'm okay, because I had an emotional day that day. The window being busted unexpectedly. So what I did was I left the shop and I let them go ahead of me. And I went and made a different turn than they did. I went and parked in a shopping center for 2 to 3 hours by myself, just in the shopping center, sitting in my car on purpose. I did this. Not one time did he call or text and ask where I was, why I didn't come back straight to the house, and if I was okay. Not one time.
Oh my gosh.
And I had thoughts, I had emotions going through my head. Damn, I spent 10 years and not even one call. So what I did was, when I felt I was there long enough, I ended up just going to the sister's house. Right when I get there, they're all getting ready to leave to their restaurant. So you mean to tell me that you knew I was going with you to the restaurant, but you had no balls to call and tell me that you guys were getting ready to leave? No, he did not. He told me to go in my own car, and as I was getting into my own car, his brother-in-law was like, what are you doing by yourself? Oh, I was told to go into my own car. He said, if you don't get into my truck, there is room. And I said, are you sure? He said, I'm sure. And yes, I went into the car with him. It was like he just wanted to be with his family and whoever else. I don't know what else was going on in his head, but we got to the restaurant. At this point, it was all over my face. You could tell I was bothered. You could tell I was annoyed. You could tell I was upset. You could tell I just did not even want to be near him now.
Yeah.
And I barely ate my food, and they were taking pictures, and I didn't want to be involved in nothing. And we leave the restaurant. I went to the sister's house. I got my car, and I went to the hotel room that I was staying in. And yes, I was by myself because now he's ankle monitored, and he had curfew, and he couldn't go with me and stay with me. Before I went to the hotel, I went to his house to drop off his stuff I had in the car, and I sat there for a while with him, and I just told him how I felt. And that's when the argument started. I started seeing his attitude. I started seeing his temper and his aggressiveness for my first time. And he was upset that I was telling him how I felt. And I said, I'm sorry. You were having me ride by myself for what? We're together. And he just told me, I dealt with people telling me what to do all my life, basically talking about COs, and I don't need to come home and have someone else tell me what to do. I'm a grown man. And I said, okay, that's what you want. I said, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you how I feel. And if my feelings are not valid and my feelings don't matter, then I don't know what to tell you because my feelings very much were bothered. And that's when some of the arguments started.
When you were sitting in that shopping center, did you think about going home?
I did.
What made you not?
I did. Because at the end of the day, it did hurt, but I had my room paid for. I had everything already settled and done, and I was just trying to have excuses. Maybe he's overwhelmed. Maybe he needs his family time. Or I was trying to have so much excuses in my head as far as like why I really didn't drive all the way 45 minutes back to my house. Maybe tomorrow will be a better day. I just had all these excuses, and like I said, when you love somebody, you're going to go hard.
Yeah.
And that's my heart. Like, he really had my heart at the time. And I was just hoping for better times and better days as I took that week off.
Did you confide in anyone?
I didn't at the time. At the time, I did not. I held it in because everybody was cheering for us by posting when he was incarcerated our pictures and how happy that I had looked and how great things were. Like, everyone was really cheering for us, and I didn't want no one to be like, I told you so at that moment. I'm the type of person that I hear you, but let me learn. Yeah. And that's where I was. I said, I gotta learn. If this isn't what it is, then let me learn. If I know it will hurt me, but let me learn.
That's so sad. I'm so sorry. I can't even imagine how lonely that must have felt.
Oh, it was definitely lonely because people are quick to judge. Nowadays, they say we listen and don't judge. People are so quick to still judge, and I didn't want to open up so soon about having issues already when he had just been home 48 hours or whatnot, but I held it in. Eventually, I knew I was going to end up talking to someone. I just didn't know how soon.
And that is a wrap on part 1 of 2 of Official's episode on her relationship and how it broke down. Crazy, right? Are you listening to it? Like, I cannot believe the series of events that happened and what she went through. It's crazy. And it just continues on. So part 2 will have kind of the end. We'll have some reflections, and I think it's just super interesting. I think you guys will really like it. In the meantime, if you do want to get to know her a little bit better, she is on TikTok. And she does have the pictures, like I said, of her and her man that she's speaking of. Her handle is official, OFFICIAL _ know your worth, KNOURWORTH. I will have that in the show notes as well. So if you do want to check out Official and on her TikTok and see her stories, I encourage you to do that because we want to support her. That'll be it. So we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.